So the Satu Sabali contract is one of what I will say is sums up why the Liberty might never, not that they won't ever lose the title again, because they're not going to win every single year, but like why every single year, bar none, they're going to perpetually have the best team on paper in the WNBA. And even if you perpetually go and like put together a team or the best team on paper, you're going to be a contender every single year, and you're going to win the title at worst once every 3 years. Because I'm not joking when I say this. The Satu's contract is basically Lexi Hull's. $800K for Satu Sabali. $800K. Like, she's getting paid the same as Monique Billings. Yes, literally. Monique Billings. People are like, oh, how do New York afford all these maxes? Because Satu's making what Monique Billings is making. Like, I like Monique Billings in general. I think it's a good fit. But like, Satu Sabali is coming off a season where she averaged 17 points per game for a team who made the finals. And in the playoffs, what did she average in the playoffs last season? Who averaged 19 points per game in the playoffs. And by the way, if it wasn't for the fact that she literally got a super concussion that lasted months and months and months, like she's only just gotten over the concussion, she would have averaged over, up until that point, she was averaging over 20 points a game on mediocre shooting splits for a team that was in the finals. Like, and not only that, like she was a big reason for that. That's not insignificant. And Satu Sabali is 27 years old, is 6'4", can shoot the three a little bit. And look, I'm not out here saying that Satu Sabali is the greatest player in the world. In fact, I don't think Satu Sabali is like a top. I don't think Satu Sabali is a top 20 player in the WNBA. I don't think Lexi Hull is a top 50 player in the WNBA. And Satu is getting paid like the 100th best player in the league. That's an exaggeration. She's getting paid like the 75th best player in the league. And the scariest thing about the New York Liberty is that they do have a like, for me, Satu is like the anti-role player, as in Satu does none of the little things, but she's big, can shoot, can give you 20 points in any given game, has consistency problems, and at times can be a poor defender, and at times can kind of shoot you out of games. But people don't realize the New York Liberty have the anti-Satu. They have the complete opposite. They have Leo Phoebish. They have another 6'4" player who does all the little things and who is extremely efficient even on low volume. So suddenly, the New York Liberty starting five is 6 foot, 6'4", 6'4", 6'4", 6'6". The tallest lineup in WNBA history. And then their bench is Benija Jelani Hamilton, who's a borderline all-star, who, like people were talking about, like her last healthy season, she was considered an all-star snub. Hanju is a 6'11" shooter who's hooping, who has been hooping since she left the WNBA, who in her last season in the WNBA averaged per 36 she averaged 8 points in like 15 minutes a game, and her per 36 numbers were off the charts. So Hanju is back. And then let's not forget they have Maureen Johannes, Rebecca Gardner, Raquel Carrera, who starts for Spain. Like, it's not even funny. And the scary thing is that all these players are going to be signing multi-year deals. So the Liberty might be able to run it back. The only player, if I'm not mistaken, that gets off the reserve free agency next year is Maureen Johannes. And I forgot, they also added Pauline Astia, who's the best young point guard, who's one of the best young point guards in Europe. And next season, do you know who else they're going to be able to bring in? Marine Foto, the best young point guard in Europe. Outside of Gisèle Jacite, obviously. But like Marine Foto starts point guard for France. And she's just injured. She's coming over next year. So it's not like they don't have all these players. And thank God that they had to renounce the rights of Dojkic. Because I've been watching Dojkic play in the EuroLeague final or quarterfinals, and she was unbelievable. This team is going to lose BLH next year. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be able to convince Benijah Laney Hamilton to play for 500k. Players on other teams are taking small pay cuts. Players like Satu was eligible for 1.4 million. She would have gotten paid 1.2 million anywhere. She would have been paid 1.2 million no matter where she went. And she took 400k less. Like on a 2-year deal. Not on a 1-year deal, being like, let me go get my title and dip. I'm there. So basically there for a good while. And the New York Liberty are so far out in front. And the thing is that if the Indiana Fever end up being there's a world where the Indiana Fever win the title. But that world does not involve them going through the New York Liberty. The New York Liberty are going to destroy the Fever. And the fact is, I don't think the New York Liberty are done. That's the scariest part about all of this, is that I'm not entirely sure the New York Liberty are done. I think the Liberty are still probably recruiting overseas. I think the Liberty are still trying to find pieces on the margins. I don't think their team is fully complete. They've got all these players on the minimums, but I genuinely don't think their team's complete, and I think the New York Liberty are randomly just going to end up as they're going to end up even deeper. It's scary. And when you can get Satu Sabli for the same price as I don't mean this in a bad way, but until 2024, Temi, until she was 30, Temi was not really deemed good enough to be a WNBA player. Or at least she didn't want to come over. And she was she cost more than Satu. I'm sorry, I like Monique Billings. Monique Billings was on a hardship contract 2 years ago and she cost more than Satu. Jess Shepherd didn't play in 2024. She cost more than Satu. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Just these players that cost more than Satu. Again, Monique Billings was on a hardship contract in 2024. And she cost the same amount as Satu. Lexi Hull was this close to not getting her 4th-year option picked up. She was this close to being out of the league. And she's getting paid the same as Satu. I'm not the biggest fan of Satu, but this is a ridiculous underpay. But anyway, yeah. It is what it is. And it is one of these funny things with Satu is that the New York Liberty were apparently about to give up the 7th pick in the draft and Benijah Laney Hamilton and another asset for Satu. And now they have Benijah Laney Hamilton still and Satu. Madness.